Hey, good afternoon. It's Matt Dayton with the Ski Summit Real Estate Show. Just wanted to reach out today and give you an update on what's going on in our market. We got some good stuff for you. This is going to be everything about local news, Summit County. We're going to talk about insurance. So that's a big hot topic right now. And then we're going to go into the MLS, dive into that a little bit. And as always, feel free to put something in the chat. If you have any questions, reach out. I've got my sidekick and show host, Benji, with Benji Does.
Hello.
Thanks for joining us. How are you doing today, Benji?
Oh man, I'm glad that it's a new year and the holidays are over and all that stuff. I'm just holidayed out.
I hear you. Ready to get back into a little bit of routine. So it's been good to get the kids back.
Yeah, I'm so routine. Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So Benji, you gonna ask me what this is?
Yeah, of course I'm going to ask you what that is. What is that big crazy thing you got there?
So I'm sitting at a broker open house right now, and one of the things we do is an incentive for other agents to come along, other than see like a beautiful house like this that I'm sitting in right now. That's 81 Gray Squirrel, but this is Angry James Brewery. So these are crowlers. So it's basically about 2 beers worth of beer, local brewery, one of the places I love. So if you get a chance to go to Silverthorne, this is just a free shout out to Angry James because I like their beer and I like their setting. There you go. So anyway, so local news. Let's touch on that a little bit. First and foremost, got to give some props to the Summit Nordic Ski Club. This is a group of athletes that I get to coach, get to work with every week. I'm just helping coach. I'm not the head coach, but I definitely love working with these guys. So I got the first meet this weekend. So there's a little article in the paper that reached out and gave a little props for those guys. And the boys last year took state champions. They were number one. They got a good shot at defeating their title this year. My son's going to be skiing with them. And the girls, we got a really good shot for those girls to take state championships this year as well. So they were pretty close on that last year. But that is kind of near and dear to my heart. So if you get a chance to get out to see some cross country skiing and support those guys, that'd be awesome. So, okay. So in real estate news, insurance is the topic of today. So thankfully out here where we are, we don't have hurricanes. We don't have, for the most part, floods. We don't have earthquakes, tornadoes, all that stuff. You get yourself caught in an avalanche, another story. But you got to find that, and it's not going to get your house. But we do have wildfires. So that's what this article is about today. This house that's burning was not from a wildfire. That was from something else. But needless to say, wildfires are a risk that we have. So brought on as a guest today, we have Mark Rodgers joining us from Trailstone Insurance Group. And Mark is going to help us kind of navigate the insurance world a little bit when buying a home up here. So Mark, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks, Matt. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys are awesome. I've gotten to know Mark over the past year. Just an outstanding individual, great company. Also a Dave Ramsey endorsed provider. So like myself, and they picked the best. So Mark, when you saw this article a little bit, but what are some, we're having some issues just getting some coverage, is my understanding, in Colorado. Obviously the wildfires. But what in particular is makes like one home over another uninsurable?
It's, in the last 2 years, it's really become tough, especially in Summit County, any place where there's wooded area. And the carriers, part of it is they can have more granular data. They're taking a look at low-flying aircraft, much like a satellite image, and they can see defensible space, where a forest is, or maybe where some dead pine is, or whatever. And that's starting to change the way they're qualifying risk and allowing insurance to be written in those areas. And so, we've seen stuff that can be 200 yards apart, and maybe they're on different faces of a hill, and one's insurable and one's not. There's more things that go into it, but That's one reason why it's starting to become really tough from one risk to the next. Another issue is losses overall, and it's not, you mentioned we don't have tornadoes, we don't have floods for the most part, things, but those are affecting the international reinsurance markets, which are affecting our local markets. And you know, myself personally, I haven't had a claim in 20 some odd years, and my rates are still going up 20-25%. I'm not in a fire risk. But people say, why are my rates going up, or why can't I get insurance? I've never had a claim. And the tough part is investors in insurance carriers are looking for safe money. And right now, anything that's outside of that kind of that standard set of an insurable risk, meaning if you're further than 4 miles away from a fire department, you might be more at risk, and so they decline it. Or you have more fire around that, more fire score, because there's woods around the house.
So they're just kind of looking to get their feet back under them, recover a little bit from some of these other areas that been hit so hard.
Yeah, so it's called reinsurance, and most people think, hey, whatever XYZ insurance company, they insure all the property and they're responsible for it all. Well, typically they're only responsible for somewhere between 30 and 60% of that risk. And then they go out and they find an investor that covers the rest of it. Well, those people want a return on money, and they're not getting it lately, especially out of California. And fire risk out there has gone crazy, as everybody knows, in the last few years.
Yeah. No, that's, gosh, makes it a little more challenging. What do you think about, so is there a remedy to the situation outside of the government stepping in? I mean, that's what this article was about.
Yeah. Immediate remedies, they're maybe more tactical for the homeowner. Like when you're going out and showing a house, maybe have some of these things prepared. You want to be within 5 miles of a firehouse that is 24/7, not a volunteer. You want to be within a half mile of a fire hydrant. You want to make sure the house has a defensible space, at least 10, 15, 20 yards of defensible space around the house. Things like a metal roof would help, tile roof. Okay. Wood shake would probably be your worst choice. There's very few carriers in this.
That's kindling, right?
Yeah. In the whole state, whether you're on the western slope, the eastern slope, or in the mountains, wood shakes are just impossible to insure right now. So but you asked about solution, government getting involved, things like that. That other than the government getting involved, it's probably going to take some time to work itself out. We can talk about that in a minute, but the government solution would be an immediate thing that can come into play and help people get insurance on homes, so then they can have a mortgage or whatever. The challenge there is it's not an indemnified policy, meaning that, let's say that the worst happens, the house burns down, it's a total loss. Well, not only do you have the structure that needs to be rebuilt, but you have personal property. And if it's your primary residence, you need to live someplace else for that next 12 to 24 months. And the government policies won't have those type of coverages. They're also heavily subsidized by the taxpayers. So, it might be a greater good that we have to have that, but it doesn't necessarily insure us from the risk, of a fire or whatever else happens. And so the type of claims that happen to your house might be severely limited. And so, they do that now currently in most of the eastern seaboard, the Gulf Coast, in Texas with hailstorms. They have state governed funds to run this type of thing. And again, they're not an indemnified policy, meaning they're just disaster assistance. It helps you get a mortgage, helps you, transfer most of the risk, but it won't transfer it all.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Now, so if you were going to, I mean, I've, grew up here my whole life. And of course there's been wildfires have always been something out there. And it's like, we just live in wildfire country, and it's never been something that's been, I mean, we've seen fires in our area, but it's never been of a huge, concern from I couldn't get insurance. Are these homes actually uninsurable?
Some are uninsurable in the what we call the normal or the standard insurance markets. Names that come to most people's mind is State Farm, Allstate, Nationwide, Safeco, Travelers. Those are main standard markets for insurance carriers. And yeah, some of those carriers are not insuring now in those fire zones. So we just had somebody just last month that was non-renewed in Summit County, and we went through every single market that was allowed to sell in the state of Colorado. No, no solution. No one would take it. And the good news is we were able to go to Lloyd's of London, and it's not as crazy as everybody thinks. You know, they see it on TV, Lloyd's of London, it's crazy risk, but that's how all reinsurance is sold. What we had to do was we had a company go and sell the risk for us on the floor of the exchange. The good news is the folks now have coverage. The bad news is they were paying $4,000 for their premium, or $4,000 a year for their premium, and now it's about $22,000. And they went from a $5,000 deductible to, I think it was 25,000. And that's on about a home that would cost about $1.2 million to rebuild. Not retail value. Retail value was probably 2.5, but the rebuilding cost was about $1.2 million.
Okay.
And so there are options out there. It's not unsurmountable, but it can be a little bit expensive for the next 3 years until, inflation starts to subside, those type of things.
So it's not a permanent, probably not a permanent type of thing, but until things kind of recover a bit.
Right. I mean, when do things ever go backwards in price, really?
Yeah.
Other than maybe, crazy things. As far as I think the insurance market, they call this a hard market, and it's when the insurance rates are going up at a much, typically twice of inflation, and that's where we're at right now. In the state of Colorado, we saw an average rate increase of over 17% across the board. In the mountains and Summit County, you're looking at 25 to 30%. Will we get back to the point where, that $4,000 premium for those folks are back? Yeah, we probably will, but it may be $5,000, but it will be back to a standard market. And it's just going to take some time. Right now, reinsurance companies can go and get a great, safe investment because inflation is so high, insurance rates are higher. They're getting great rates someplace else. And once inflation starts to come down a little bit, they will start to go back into the insurance markets to get a better return. But it's probably going to be 18 to 24, maybe 36 months.
Oh. Well, the good news is I guess we make it up a bit in our property taxes, right?
Yeah.
Which are nice and low compared to like Texas or Chicago or something. So, well, that is awesome. I'm trying to think if there's anything else there that I wanted to touch on with you, but anything just from a due diligence standpoint, somebody's coming in, they're going to buy a house, they're looking for a place in the mountains, like any red flags that you just say that throw up, like, you better look into this deeper with your insurance.
Yeah. Several red flags. We mentioned it before, wood shake roof, right? Stay away from that one if you can. Take a look. How close is the home to a firehouse that has firefighters there 24/7? Also, if it's within 5 miles, but it's all dirt road or something, or it's not serviced in the winter for snowplows, that can kill it as well. Fire hydrants, once they get outside of a half mile, that's going to put it into a higher tier of risk, and it's going to make it more difficult. So those are some of the red flags or flags that say, I need to check this out before I buy it or put an offer in. Or once you put the offer in, you got to get on it pretty quick. If we have pine trees right up to the house, pine needles falling on the roof, things like that, they're going to see that now in satellite pictures, and that will be another red flag. And you may be asked to mitigate, and sometimes that can happen even 30 or 60 days after the policy goes into effect. Okay. So don't be surprised by that. Try to get a pre-approval done before you take possession of the home, of course.
So probably a good idea, like if you live in the woods and you own the house, to go ahead and take care of that defensible space before you're up for renewal.
Yeah, yep. It's tough. The defensible space is tough. We live in the mountains because we love the beauty, right? But what they're doing, or what they're asking us to do, is reduce the foliage around the home, and it's tough for most people.
Makes sense though. Yeah, definitely makes sense. So, well, awesome. Hey, Mark, I appreciate you joining us. Benji, if you show Mark's contact information in there, like I said, Mark's a wealth of knowledge. As a Dave Ramsey ELP, they really just have a heart of a teacher, and it's just about informing, letting you know what you need, what's out there, anything that might be make your life harder or make it easier. So feel free to give Mark a shout, ask him any questions. Mark, thanks so much for joining us today. I really appreciate it, and appreciate your time.
Thanks, Matt. Thanks, Benji.
All right. Take care. We'll see you
Take care.
later.
Yeah. Thanks, Mark.
See ya. Bye-bye.
So we're going to go into a little bit of the MLS. Check that out. So Summit County, as most of you know, Breckenridge, Blue River, Frisco, Keystone, Copper, Dillon, Silverthorne. And just going to take a quick little peek at the Summit MLS and give you guys a little idea of what we're kind of seeing. So I'm going to, let's see, share my screen here. Did you already do that for me, Benji?
No.
I click here.
Can you do it at the bottom middle?
Yep, I can do it here. Usually running off of two screens, but today.
There you go.
One. So here we go. So new listings in the past, let's skip it over to 7 days, and residential. We're just going to look at residential right now. New listings, we've got 19 new ones, 18 pending. So actually the first time we've seen more new listings than pending by one. 32 sold, and we've seen some price decreases there. Let's take a look at new listings, see if there's anything fun and exciting on there today, or at least in the past week. So just kind of flowing through here a little bit. Beaver Run condos, there's been a number of those, number of opportunities. Beaver Run, right at the base of Breckenridge ski area, walk to the slopes, walk to town. Great amenities. I like those. They have a front desk, so there's no limit on how many licenses they can give for those. It's a more 4th Street crossing there in Silverthorne. That area is really up and coming. And let's scroll through here a little bit, see if there's anything particularly exciting that was worth mention. So it's Crystal Peaks Lodge, nice high-end condo there right at the base of the ski area. We do get some other like places outside of Summit County that get put in our MLS as well. So sometimes interesting to look at that. But is it fun? How about that for a view? You know, like
Man,
that?
I love that. That looks crazy.
So that video I was going to do on my little ski adventure up to Francie's cabin is so that's Helen. So it'll be just on the other side of that. So people should watch for that. That's going to be fun. And then here you go. You've got your high end, top end listing for it's a Copper Mountain Lewis Ranch, right next to the ski slopes. So you got a gorgeous home,
pretty house.
Yeah. And Copper, this is actually one of the home I'm sitting in right now, and then something like this here in Copper is one of the few single family homes that you can get a short-term rental license on with no caps on those or days of restrictions. So that's actually a pretty good one if you're looking for high-end house right there on the slopes.
Crazy high-end. That thing is nice.
I know, that is pretty sweet. Just easy, you pay to be on the beach.
I like that little guy at the end there.
This little guy right here?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like perfect little like 3-bedroom out on the, this is what we call high plains. So you're out in Park County. I mean,
wow. Is that all protected forest behind it too?
There is a fair amount up there. I mean, you got residential up here, but then you get up into all this wilderness up here and Mosquito Pass. And if you ever want to go do a burro run, they take the donkeys and you run with what is it? Finding Sherman or something about Sherman. It's about a guy running with Sherman, of course, guy running with donkeys. So going off on a total tangent. All right, so let's take a look at what went under contract in the past 18 days. Let's see if there's what we got. So Highlands Green Lodge, little 1-bedroom right in between Breckenridge and Frisco. That'd be our lowest sale. We get a 1-bedroom in Breckenridge for $500. A few things in Kremling. Some stuff in Keystone. Keystone's still been a pretty good hot market. This Frostfire condo right close to the slopes, a 1-bedroom for $729. This is the lowest price single family home I've seen in Breckenridge in a while at $810. It's been on for a bit, but Kind of a lot of stairs going to that puppy, but good opportunity for a sub-$1 million single family home in Breckenridge. And cruising on down, things going quickly. I mean, this Marina Park condo was only on for a few days, so there's still things that are moving fairly quickly, but I would say days on market is definitely increasing. Not uncommon to see the 90 days on market mark for a lot of stuff. But we're seeing a number of these high end, as a duplex for 2.8, another single family home in Highlands and Breckenridge for over 3 million. And then this guy is a top one that went under contract for a single family home in Spruce Valley Ranch.
Yeah,
That's
look at the
where,
windows in that thing.
yeah, that one is like just the views, the settings. Spruce Valley Ranch is that's just an
Good
amazing.
night. That is so picturesque. I can't believe it.
Yeah, that is. I just love the logs, the setting.
Is
Pretty.
that considered like a cabin because it has so much natural wood in it, or?
Well, I got to tell you, that's cabins. It kind of always I'm like, oh, we have a cabin in the mountains. It's like 5,000 square feet. Like that's not like you and I were looking at that thing earlier. That's when active. That's a cabin.
Yeah.
5,000 square feet. Just because it's got some logs. That's
like 4 cabins built really close together.
That's a little more than a cabin. So, and then just take a quick look at what's been selling in price points. So, again, as you're in the lower price points, things are definitely closer to asking price. You're seeing a lot of stuff that's selling here that is right at asking price. Slopeside condo, they got a little discount off of that. Ski in, ski out, and Keystone. Those are good opportunities. Those slope sides just have something right on the slope. And yeah, everything's pretty tight, close to asking price. Let's see, just kind of scrolling down through. Bunch of the 4th Street crossings. You can even see, like, here's this Willowbrook Meadows single family home that sold, went over asking price.
Whoa.
It wasn't anything necessarily to write home about, but it's just a single family home in Summit County for under $1 million. So, but here's this one for $1 million, and it went for $60,000 off of asking. So there's different opportunities. This one in Discovery, great views on that guy. Went for 50,000 off. They had to reduce the price a number of times on that to get there. But let's see. We'll scroll down. A bunch of Summit Sky Ranch things that have been under contract, and then our highest sale, $4.2 million for this one, Fairways at Breckenridge. It's like an 8,000 square foot house. So this is a pretty big house, even in Breckenridge Highland, even the Highlands standards. Right off the golf course, you can see a little Nordic skier down there.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
There's a little guy right there. Yeah, that's we train out there on the Nordic trails sometimes. So there's some cross country ski trails. One of these days, I need to do a how to cross country ski video. So. Actually, I have one out there. So anyway, that is the MLS in the nutshell. So that's about all I got for that. And real estate jargon. So property insurance deadlines, very important at the conversation we just had. So property insurance is going to be essentially very high due diligence item that you want to make sure you're checking out, you're looking into it. How old is the roof? So that's one of the big things. Just the age of a roof, it's over 20 years old, might throw up a red flag for the insurance company. So we want to make sure you get all your due diligence done on the insurance stuff prior to that due diligence deadline. Very important to make sure you do. That's your free kind of get out of the contract if there's some problem with getting insurability on the house. Haven't been running into that a lot lately, but this article definitely kind of threw up a little bit of a red flag for me. So I thought that was important to take a look at it and get Mark on the show. So Anything else I'm missing today, Benji?
No, you killed it today. You knocked everything out. We're over 20 minutes. We're at 25:33. We had Mark on as a new guest. We had a lot of firsts today. This is great.
No, this is good. I'm glad, and this is going to be kind of running Thursdays at 2:00. So I'm happy with that. So anyway, well, without further ado, thanks for joining us on the Summit Ski Show. See if I can do that. That's a tongue twister. Who came up with that name?
That was me. Sorry.
Because you didn't have to say it. So if you enjoyed this, please leave us a like below. Subscribe. Thanks for any support you give us on social media. Certainly appreciate it. And again, Matt Dayton, Cornerstone Real Estate, Benji Does. Mark, thanks for joining us with Trailstone Insurance. And we will see you sometime on the mountain soon.